um, Jessica and Jim from Cortec with us. Just to give you a little bit of background on them, Jim Holden is a technical director for energy and engineered solutions for Cortec. He's based out of Florida. He is the engineer guru for Cortec around the world when it comes to equipment and how Cortec products work in complicated systems. You don't have to fear his roundhouse kick, but Jim does have a Six Sigma Master Black Belt, which I know from a little bit of experience is not an easy thing to get. So he can tell you all kinds of ways to eliminate waste. And you have held engineering positions at Alstrom Power, Westinghouse, and General Electric. Jessica Carpenter comes from us from Cortec with 16 years of experience, and you specialize in automotive and manufacturing. You work with engineers to provide specifications and solutions for corrosion during manufacturing and the shipping of components. All right. So to start off, can you tell us a little bit about Cortec and the products that you manufacture?
Absolutely, and thank you for having us on today. Cortec was started in the 1970s by our now still owner, Boris Miksic, and his goal was to create an environmentally friendly product that would prevent corrosion from occurring. We are situated in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is where our headquarters is, and we have representation all over the world. Our products are based on a chemistry that is an amine carboxylate chemistry. In and of itself, it has a higher affinity to metal than water does. So if you have a piece of metal, like steel wool sitting in water, and you put one of our chemistries in it, it basically creates a barrier, a molecular barrier, around the metal and protects the water from causing corrosion. It also pushes the water away as the molecule has a hydrophobic portion as well. So all of the 500 plus products that we manufacture utilize this type of chemistry, and we put them into different forms like packaging or powders, liquids, etc.
And are there any products specifically that you're going to be focusing on today?
Today, Jim and I are going to be focusing on VPCI 649, which is a water additive. And if we have time, we'll also discuss an oil additive, both of which are really popular with a lot of different applications, and certainly as of recently with Caterpillar. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jim start off talking about 649, and then we will discuss what it's used for.
Okay. VPCI 649 is one of our workhorse products. It's developed for closed loop cooling systems and for hydro testing. So in a closed loop cooling system, it's used at very low ppm to protect both the wetted surfaces within the system, but also the air pockets that you always tend to have in piping systems, especially if you have pipes and then you have tanks. And as you go from one to the other, you tend to get an airspace. And the 649 has both contact inhibitors that protect the metal that it's in contact with, but it also has a vapor portion. So the vapor, the inhibitor volatilizes out of the water and fills the airspace above the water. And the inhibitor molecule, since it has an affinity for metal, will travel to the metal surfaces and provide that barrier film that provides corrosion protection. The biggest use of the 649 was really something that it wasn't originally developed for. It was originally developed for cooling water systems, but we have found through the years that it is an excellent product for hydro testing. You can take and apply 649 at anywhere between 0.5% to 1.5% by weight volume to your hydro test water. And when you hydro test, total contact time, including pump up, hold, and pump down, is a minimum of 2 hours. Then once you get through your hydro test, you drain it. But unlike with conventional hydro test processes, you don't go back in and air dry. You just drain it and close it up, and you're good for anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. Any residual water that's left behind is a source of inhibitor. So if you happen to forget and not have one of your flange covers totally tight and the inhibitor starts to leak out, then the inhibitor that's in the water will start to volatilize and fill that airspace once again. So it's a self-replenishing process. You easily get 2 years protection when you take and use 1.5% by volume. Jessica, any comments, thoughts?
Yeah, of course. So some of the customers that are currently using this are Caterpillar, who uses it in their cooling system, and they've been adding glycol as well. And this has been very popular. They'll hold it in a tank, circulate it through the cooling system, capture it, use the refractometer or other measuring device to take the concentration level and then reuse it again. We also have data centers use this to cool the data centers like Google and Amazon, where the closed loop system to cool all of the electrical components that they use for the data centers needs an additive to prevent corrosion in that piping system. And that's been a very popular use for this as well. Other uses that we've seen are like the locomotive engines for Caterpillar, for Progress Rail, and for General Electric. They use a similar type of product, but the same application. So with Cortec, we don't want you to create a new process. We want to look at the process that you have and choose a product that works best in the process that that will best fit your application.
So
Go ahead.
when looking specifically at like water and wastewater treatment, are there like specific applications that you could use 649 in for that?
Wastewater treatment. I don't, Jim, do we do anything with wastewater treatment for this? I don't think we do.
Not to my knowledge. It's not to say that it couldn't be done, just that we would want to take and do some testing to determine the concentration. And it really depends on what the makeup of the wastewater is. We have similar products to 649 that would possibly be better suited to that particular application. But there's a whole family of these products that's used for water, wastewater treatment.
If we know the application in which corrosion is happening in those specific industries for wastewater or water treatment, we can better answer that question. Like if it's closed looped or open looped, or if it, when the corrosion is developing, et cetera. Is there more specifics on that specific application?
No specifics at this time. I was just, listening to what you guys were saying and trying to look at other applications for the 649. Do you have any other types of equipment that that 649 is using? I know you covered a couple of them.
Yeah, I think any type of hydro test that is done where you're circulating it through an enclosed system, the 649 can be used. So anything hydro test related where it dwells and then you would capture it or drain it.
Some specific examples that most people will be familiar with are boilers of various sizes, anything from a donkey boiler that's used for heating to big power boilers that's used to generate electricity. Those use 649 for hydro testing. Big turbine casings, pump casings that are anything that's API has to be hydro tested. So any pressure vessel will be hydro tested with the 649.
And then if your application doesn't require hydro testing and you have a void space or piping that needs protection where you're not going to run water through it, or there's not water already in it, the other application / product that would work very well is our VPCI 337. which is a product that can be fogged at anywhere from 0.03 to, I don't know, 1% into a void space. And it's a good alternative to nitrogen blankets. So, for example, the General Electric air compressor. Jim, will you talk about GE air compressors?
Well, what we do, the biggest application for 337, especially with GE, is in the preservation of their heat recovery steam generators, either while facilities are being built and these big vessels are sitting there just waiting to go into service, and in their gas turbines. So either one of the gas turbine or the Hersig, they'll take and fog the internals of the vessels at 0.3 to 0.5 ounces per cubic foot. The beauty of this product, unlike nitrogen, it's very simple to apply. You use an airless paint sprayer and just stand outside and fog it into the vessel. Once you finish, you close it and you walk away. You don't have to go back and monitor it on a weekly basis like you do nitrogen. You don't have to have equipment staged so that you can recharge the system when it leaks down. And nitrogen, the only way you can keep that in place is to have a hermetic seal where you've welded all the openings together. But 337 is used fogging long pipe runs. I think we've done up to 25 miles where we fogged into pipes that are both above ground and below ground, Hersigs, boilers, pumps, compressors, basically anything that's got an internal volume, we fog it with 337.
Do you have other questions that we can answer before our time is up?
I had a quick question. I know there's two different versions, I think, of the 337. It's the F and I think the GE. What would be the right, I guess, situation for each?
The GE version is a high purity version, and it was developed specifically for GE for Hersig applications. So it eliminated all the halogens, the sodium, and the sulfur. Those are all products that are banned or tightly controlled by the power industry, especially the nuclear industry. So that's when you would use the GE version. And for all other applications, you could use just a standard 337.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions for anybody here? Doug.
Yeah, Jim, how do you feel about fogging 337 inside of pipe for critical spares left inside of pipe yards, say 12-inch, 18-inch, 24-inch diameter pipe that's in storage?
It's an excellent product and process for that. In fact, we do quite a few pipe racks for some of these refineries and LNG facilities.
Great. And then, Jim, one other question. Somebody asked about wastewater. I've had good success with your emitter cups and your VPCI 309 pouches, 308 pouches for battery rooms or electrical panels. Any thoughts on that for water or wastewater?
They're excellent for any type of system or facility where you have control panels that's exposed to corrosive gases. So they work extremely well in wastewater plants to protect your controls.
You just need to make sure that the environment's enclosed when you're using an emitter such as that. And if the electrical panel has airflow or is open to the atmosphere, then we would use one of our other products that would create residual protection on it, such as ElectroCore 239. So it really just depends on the application. And we always encourage our customers to talk through what they're experiencing, what the application is, what the circumstances are around the application, so that we can recommend the best product.
With 500 plus products, you guys have a solution that's pretty much unique to any problem that people are going to run into. It's what I've learned a lot about the product line. So each one's just tailored a little bit for something else a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Right. Our goal is to take and provide a solution in such a manner that it doesn't add steps and that it doesn't require the end user to do any cleaning. So once you apply it, the goal is that you don't have to remove it prior to using your system.
All right, that pretty much brings us to time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.